that proper notice has been given by the Township Council in accordance with the Sunshine Law in the following manner. The notice advertised in the Burlington County Times and Camden Carrier Post on January 11, 2017, and posted on the bulletin board on the same date. Mr. Burrell?
Here.
Mrs. Flode?
Here.
Mr. Schwartz?
Here.
Mr. O'Connell?
Here.
Mr. Cattrick?
Here. So we have a couple of resolutions and motions to handle. And let's get started with Resolution 2017-163. This is a resolution authorizing the purchase of 2 police department sedan and sport utility vehicles and trucks under state contract T-277-6 with the expiration date of 3/15/18.
All right, I just have one question. That number in that resolution, that's for both vehicles?
Yes.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Burrell?
Aye.
Mrs. Flode?
Aye.
Mr. Schwartz?
Aye.
Mr. O'Connell?
Aye.
Mr. Cattrick?
Aye. Next is Resolution 2017-164. This is a resolution authorizing the upfit of police vehicles under state contract T-0106, Police and Homeland Security Equipment and Supplies with an expiration of 12/26/17.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Burrell?
Aye.
Mrs. Flode?
Aye.
Mr. Schwartz?
Aye.
Mr. O'Connell?
Aye.
Mr. Cattrick?
Aye. Next we have Resolution 2017-165, which authorizes various grass cuttings.
Go ahead.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mr. Burrell?
Aye.
Mrs. Flode?
Aye.
Mr. Schwartz?
Aye.
Mr. O'Connell?
Aye.
Mr. Cattrick?
Aye. And finally, a motion authorizing the advertisement of bid for the 2017 police uniform contract.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Burrell?
Aye.
Mrs. Flode?
Aye.
Mr. Schwartz?
Aye.
Mr. O'Connell?
Aye.
Mr. Cattrick?
Aye. So in on our agenda, we have an item that I'd like to add, and that is we have an Eagle Scout candidate, Eamon Taylor, is going to make his presentation, something we talked about, I think. So I'm going to have him get started. All right? Eamon, there you go.
Thank you, sir. I have some papers for you guys. I didn't bring enough. There's so many of you.
We can share.
So I hope you can share.
Yeah.
This one's for me. You know what? Can you all see me?
Yeah.
Actually, everything. My name is Eamon Taylor. I'm a Boy Scout from 225 in Delaware, New Jersey, and I'm here to talk to you about my Eagle Scout project. So the project, as you may know by now, is to construct a Gaga pit in the Conwell Park on Conwell Road. Now, just a little, with a brief introduction of the Gaga pit. It's a wooden rectangle where you play a sport, Gaga ball. This sport is rather popular in Boy Scouts. We go to summer camp, we play that game, and it's really quite enjoyable. Now, excuse me, the project overview. Before I get into that, let me just give you some information about how an Eagle project is conducted. An Eagle project is conducted by an Eagle Scout candidate, and the goal of the project is to show and demonstrate leadership. It's the role of the Eagle Scout candidate to raise help, manpower to carry out the project, raise funds for the project, and see its completion, as well as obtain approval, which is why I'm here. Now, the project is relatively simple. As you can see in the pamphlets I provided, it only takes about 3 to 5 hours to assemble with adequate manpower. It only takes about 6 to 12 people to construct. 2 weeks ago, I attended a project where the goal was building a Gaga pit, much like this. And it was myself, 5 other people, and we got it done in about 3 hours. So it's a very simple project, and little to no cost. Now on the last page, I include the materials and the cost to build this project. It only comes to about, when you add up all the posts and planks and assorted nuts and bolts, comes to around a little over $500. So not very expensive. And as I mentioned before, it is the role of the Eagle Scout candidate to raise funds for this project. Traditionally, we do that by holding car washes down on 130 by the Firestone car service place. A friend of mine, put up a GoFundMe page to accept donations online for this project. He raised about 200 through that, 200 through a car wash, couple that together. He built his Gaga pit with the funds he got from the project. Anything left over goes to buying food for the helpers. So that was my rushed introduction about the project. Any questions?
I have a Gaga Bowl. Now, I'm maybe added it. I've never heard of this. Do kids like your age and younger, is this a popular game for kids?
Yes.
It
So,
is, oh, okay.
Gaga ball is a
Yeah.
variation of dodgeball. Its other name is really dodgeball, which is a mouthful to say, so it's got shortened to Gaga ball. It's a sport that we play quite often in Boy Scouts. You know, you go to a summer camp and you see one of these down in the parade field, you say, yeah, that's the camp for me. It's a very simple game. It follows the same rules as dodgeball. One ball and as many players as you can fit into the pit or octagon, and the last man standing wins. You go to hit the ball at the other players and knock them out. The ball touches you below your legs, you're out. So it's a very simple game, and it's very popular with anybody. It can be played by all ages.
And people will bring the dodgeballs, you're not gonna provide, I mean,
Well,
this is just a pit, and then if
It's
people
just a
wanna
pit,
play,
yeah.
they know what kind
Yeah,
of
if you
ball
wanna
to
play,
bring.
all it requires is one ball, and that's it.
Is there an age limit that uses this, or?
No, as far as I'm aware, it can be played by all ages. And if you can physically hit the ball and dodge it, you can play.
Is there any, like, I mean, just safety precautions with this, or, I mean, only because we're looking at young kids as well?
Sure. Safety precautions will be, you know, the only danger you could be in is tripping while you're trying to dodge the ball, hitting your head. That can be counteracted by, you know, if it's necessary, you can provide cushions around the rim of the pit, cushions on, you know, any kind of edges. I should mention that any kind of posts, you can see in the first packet where they include posts on the inside of the pit. We file those down, file down any kind of sharp edges as precaution.
So will it be this style, where
Yes,
there's a post inside, or this style where there's not a post
Yeah,
inside?
you may notice a discrepancy between the two photos that I provided in my packet. That photo I added just to give you an idea of what a Gaga pit looks like. I didn't know that Mr. Hatcher would be providing with these pamphlets, but which is very helpful, so thank you about that. But yes, it will be following this style.
So about how big is this? Are these
It's-
10-foot sections in between?
30.
It's about 3 feet high. All the walls are 3 feet high and 15 feet in diameter, so not very large.
Okay.
Um,
I know that the Tempe Chase Swim Club has one, and they seem to love it, kids play, and so far, from what I understand, there's been no medical emergencies, so I'm happy to hear that. We will be, so once you're done, you'll give this to the township, this becomes our property, and
Yes.
we maintain it, right? Jerry, would you give any issues with, I would assume the wood here is pretty,
Pressure treated, right?
is
you
it,
said?
is it pressure treated? What is, yes, it's pressure treated. So the probably, and it's just natural, there's no painting or anything?
No, natural.
What about inside, on the ground inside? Is there anything on the ground, or is it just dirt, or is it?
Depending on where it's set up, I might provide sand or dirt, you know, something to cushion it if the ground is not suitable, like if it has grass, touch, something like that.
Do we want to have Jerry help you with selecting the location as to where this is going to be?
Yeah, I
There.
mean, somebody should,
Yeah.
make sure we got.
How do we want to do that, so he doesn't just build it where?
You should, first of all, you suggested Conroe Park, right?
Yes.
Right, but I mean,
But within Conroe Park, you're asking?
right,
Yeah, coordinated with Jerry.
I would go through Jeff and then Jeff over.
yeah.
I
So
didn't-
we'll just make sure that you kind of focus all your conversation through to Jeff Hatcher.
I did not include a proposed location for it in the park because I didn't want to put it down somewhere where there might be a gas pipe or something like that, and have it right there.
Sure.
So you all figure out the best location, so that's, anybody else have any questions?
Just, does Jerry, do you have anything you want to expand on?
No,
Well,
no.
if you're okay with it, it's fine with me.
Yeah, no, I guess the only maintenance is, I mean, does it get any kind of stain on the outside or anything? I mean, it's all pressure treated,
Yeah, it's all pressure treated.
so it doesn't get stained or anything, it's just natural.
No.
Any idea of the life expectancy? I mean,
As far as I'm aware, it should be good for like 2-3 years.
Because eventually what happens after time, pressure treated will splinter, and at that time we have to be careful. Exactly.
Do we want to think that about sealing it or staining it?
It doesn't really help.
No?
Yeah, pressure treated doesn't.
It's,
If it was some kind of like maybe cedar or something, but no, pressure's fine, it's fine. The only thing is we just have to be careful once it starts aging.
well, when the life expectancy runs out, then obviously we take it out.
Sure.
In his proposal, he's got pressure treated or cedar.
Yeah, but I think he's using pressure treated.
You are?
Pressure
Okay.
treated will be cedar, not with much.
As I indicated
Yeah,
at
yeah.
the last meeting where we originally brought the information forward, I did run this past the Burlington County Joint Insurance Fund. They've seen a number of these go up and they have no issues with them.
Very good.
I have
Would
fond
you
memories of dodgeball. I don't know what Gaga dodgeball is.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like it's geared, the target is lower, they don't try to take your head off.
Oh, is that?
It's more geared to below the knees, would that be accurate?
Yes, knees and down.
So it's not like bombardment.
No.
You kick forward. There's no running starts.
Right. Yeah, I remember, I used to love bombardment, that was pretty.
It's, you have to slap the ball, hit it, punch it, you can't kick it
Oh,
around.
okay.
Can
Oh,
you throw it?
You cannot throw it.
You have to slap it. Oh, that seems a little more.
It stays inside that.
Now, would you ever be able to build this out of, I mean, it would be expensive unless we got someone to donate it, you know, that Trex material that doesn't ever,
Talking bucks though.
yeah.
Um,
But I mean, then it would last.
Yeah, but,
Double the price.
Yeah, it could be, yes.
yeah.
We'd have to find someone to donate.
Yeah, I have to find the designs and all that, but it's possible.
Well, it might be a good idea to go with his proposal, and then if it's popular,
Yeah, we could
when the
make
thing starts to show its age, we can think about using
Trex.
a more
And
permanent.
you never know, in 3 to 5 years,
It could be out.
it could be.
A game that they
Yeah,
don't like.
right,
Yeah, that's
right.
true, that's true. Very
but-
cool.
and
It could be like guns and.
From Eamon's perspective, you know, I went through the same process, so it's very, there's a lot of oversight, and it's not just thrown together. I can assure you that. He has to do a thick paper on this, and it's approved through council, and also it's not something, you know, he just throws together in
No,
a
it sounds
couple
like-
hours. and
Sounds like a great
so,
idea.
You know, I'm sure I can speak for him, we'll manage it very well.
Yeah, the only concern I have is the safety bit, but it sounds to me like, you know, it should be all right.
Safer than regular dodgeball.
Yeah, I mean,
Exactly, so insurance covers it too, so.
So do we need any kind of resolution, or are we just do the infamous nodding of heads?
I think a resolution just approving,
Should
in
we
the
make a motion or a
abstract,
resolution?
you know, I guess eventually, if you guys want to approve the final location, you know, once you have all the information, you can do it that way as well, once.
Well, I
the
think
whole plan
everybody
is
agreed,
together.
everybody agrees Conrad?
I can like.
Yeah, I just have a question. As part of the insurance coverage, do we need to have like an engineering inspection or something on this piece of structure?
No.
We're okay with it?
And no construction permit?
We can get that waived.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
As
His plan.
long as they're good with it.
Everybody's okay with Conrad though?
That's fine.
Well,
Yeah.
when I say waive, we'll have
Yeah,
the
yeah.
construction code official review it, but we won't,
Yeah.
because it's gonna be on
Yeah,
municipal
they-
property, won't be charging.
Gotcha.
In the day, or you had, everything's okay with wear and stuff, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either,
And do you think Conroe, you keep asking about Conroe, does that have the most children come? Conroe, or is there another park that would be better?
Well, you have the community park, but they have a lot of other things
Yeah.
going on there, and it's right.
I think Conroe's good.
Is there another, Conroe's good?
Yeah.
Plus the shade and stuff, and
Yeah.
A lot of room to do that.
Mm.
Tim, can I just do a motion?
so. You can just do a motion.
Okay,
Perfect.
so, unless someone has further questions, seeing heads going side to side, I'm gonna ask for a motion to approve the Eagle Scout Gaga Pit proposal in Conroe Park at a location that is approved by Jeff and Jerry, as well as the Eagle Scout candidate, and I need a motion to approve.
So good.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations.
Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
good luck.
Good job.
Good luck.
Keep the papers. Thank
Okay.
you.
See you soon.
All right, thank you. Can't wait. Thank you.
Congratulations.
No, good luck with it.
We'll see you. Good night.
It's the fairy version.
Is there something that Eagle Scouts
Grow
do
like
to grow
weeds.
taller?
Yeah.
Is that what's going on?
That's what happens. They shoot up.
All right, so let's get at the agenda. We have a number of items. So let's start with Animal Control Services. Jeff, you want to just give the summary?
Animal control contract has expired. Our animal control contract for the last few years has been with Independent Animal Care Services. They submitted a bid of $18,000, but we did get a bid of $8,400 a year from M&R Wildlife, although I do have some concerns about that number. Their employees did work for us back when we had Riverfront Animal Control as part-time officials, so they do know the town. And we've done a background check in terms of the towns that they service, and didn't find any difficulties or any problems with it, so I would recommend that we provide the contract to M&R for 1 year at $8,400 a year.
Is there a provision in that for after hours?
There is a provision, yes. The current contract has the same thing. The current contract, the after hours are a little bit, there's 1 hour more in the morning, 1 hour more in the evening, but it's still not enough to offset the price difference between their 8 to 4. The other one was, actually, I think it was 7 to 5. But based on the calls that we got that were after hours, we didn't get that many after hour calls anyway, so it won't have a significant impact on the bid.
And there is also a provision if we weren't satisfied, we can always.
Yes.
So just to be clear, and this is regardless of who we award the contract to, this is not, hey, we got a barking dog or a rabid dog or something. This is more,
It's usually a loose animal.
loose animal.
A loose domestic animal.
Right. And then do they do the picking up of roadkill, or no, we do that?
The county is supposed to do
County's
it.
supposed to do it.
Well, they're supposed to do deer and things like that. They'll pick up some, like if it was a dog or a cat, they would pick that up.
Who picks up the rabbit?
This is, these guys with M&R?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, domestic.
That's what I was
And
trying
what
to.
are the towns do they do?
Give them to the mayor.
Oh, it's okay.
There's about 6 towns that they do. Burlington Township and Burlington City, right off the top of my head, are 2 of them.
Okay.
They have, and they have a couple out in the Marlton area.
I mean, that's just a huge price difference.
Yes.
Okay,
We do have some backup options if this were not to work out.
okay, okay.
We're covered.
Good.
We need to, anyone else have questions about this?
Ken?
Do we need to do anything to award this?
If everybody's in agreement, what we'll do is prepare a resolution for the next work session, because we'd like to get it done quickly, but I'll give them the word that it's our intention to give them the contract so they're prepared to start on October 1st, and the existing company is prepared to recognize that they will be providing service after October 1st.
Because he's got rabies.
Good. All right, so next, Jeff, this is all you, buddy. This is the Jif and Mel Quarterly Snapshot, which I gotta tell you is interesting reading.
Yes. I can start.
Ever had trouble sleeping?
This is
I recommend
helping
you
me
put
with
that
my sleep
on the
issue that I
nightstand.
had a couple weeks ago.
Can I make a request just for the sake of those that are here and may not know, even for myself and those watching this on the video? Can we explain the acronyms instead of just
Okay.
going Jif, Mel, and
Sure,
everybody goes,
sure.
who's Jif and Mel?
Yeah.
I'll give you a little bit of history. As the township went into a joint insurance fund back in 1991, and we named it the Burlington County Joint Insurance Fund. We first started with 10 towns. The reason for going to a joint insurance fund is that all of the towns used to use commercial insurance back in the day. And from year to year, we would see 40% increases in different lines of insurance and absolutely no justification for why. Not having significant claims in an area and suddenly being told either we can't get the insurance or it's going up 30 or 40% that year. So the towns got together, created a joint insurance fund, and it just grew throughout the state of New Jersey to the point where we also created and that the Burlington County Joint Insurance Fund, I'll refer to as the JIF now,
Sure.
Burlco JIF. There are approximately, I think, 30 joint insurance funds within the state that are covering different areas of the state. All of our towns are in Burlington County. We now have 26 towns in Burlington County that are in our joint insurance fund. There's a couple that are in different funds because they created their funds a year earlier. There's one that has larger towns, that has 4 towns in it, and because one of the towns wanted to go in a joint insurance fund before the other towns were ready, one went with the Camden JIF. So the vast majority of towns in Burlington County are in a joint insurance fund, one or the other. And then we created a municipal excess liability fund, which originally provided excess insurance above a $200,000 claim. $200,000 isn't what it used to be, so now it's a little bit higher. Actually, it was originally $100,000 or higher, and then it went up to $200,000 and in the $300,000 area for most lines of coverage. So the Burlington County Joint Insurance Fund is governed by representatives from each town that are members of the Burlington County Joint Insurance Fund. We review our claims, we hire professionals to operate it, and I think all of you have seen through the budget process, I don't think we've even had an increase in the last 3 years, and when we get increases, they're usually rather minimal. They're a couple percent. We don't see 20% increases. We've never seen a 20% increase in all the years since we created the funds. There are now roughly 350 entities in the municipal excess liability fund throughout the state. So it is without a doubt the most successful shared service in the country. We send our professionals that operate the fund to other states, and essentially they've taught other states how to do this. We are the biggest fund in the country.
This is the MEL.
That's the MEL.
Yeah. And the acronym for MEL again?
Municipal Excess Liability Fund. And basically it's excess insurance above what the JIF is covering. And it's not always self-insured. Sometimes we're going out and using the 350 entities to get a better price for commercial insurance in those areas where we figure that that's the best way to go. So what we try to do here is quarterly, just bring you up to date on claims histories that we're having, because obviously claims can ultimately result in assessments increasing or have impacts on assessments. So on a quarterly basis, I'd like to give you information concerning where we're at. And overall, besides this issue, we are in the middle of our budget process. The finance meetings are actually held here because I'm the chairman of the finance committee, and we're about 75 to 80% complete our budget process with Burlco JIF, and right now both the Burlco JIF and the Municipal Excess Liability Fund budgets look very good for this year, so I don't see any significant issues with respect to them. In terms of the quarterly reports that you have, you basically have 3, and one area that the Municipal Excess Liability Fund covers is EPL and POL insurance, and EPL stands for Employment Practice Liability, POL is Public Officials Liability, and that's basically EPL, Employment Practice Liability, is probably one of the fastest growing areas where there are claims against towns, and that's basically filing claims against insurers. I guess I'm not going to be able to see today. Claims against, those are my, I couldn't find my regular glasses. Claims against employers for whether it be hiring, firing, lack of promotion, something along those lines. And if you'll review our 6-year claims history is 0. There's been 0 claims in 6 years. There's actually been 0 claims since 1991 with respect to EPL and POL insurance for Delran Township. Second area is the MEL loss ratio, and the MEL also, besides doing the excess insurance, does the POL and the EPL. They do first dollar on that one as well. And as you can see, the 6-year claims history for that is 1.4%. It's outstanding. We've had very few claims with respect to the MEL, and the MEL loves us because we don't have claims. The next one's the more problematic one, and that is with the JIF. These are, this is basically auto workers' compensation claims. It can be general liability. We do have some general liability claims, but it's basically auto and workers' compensation. And we're actually over 100% on our claims history for the last 6-year period. We had a bad 4 years from approximately 2010, which isn't shown on here, but 2010 through 2014. However, you can see from 2015 and 16, we're trending very well, with 29%, 11.2 basically percent. So it's trending well. We think we've got most of the issues that we're having. I mean, sometimes we call it being in the box. There are some years that you just have a couple of workers' comp claims, and if you've got a torn knee or a torn shoulder, it can just pretty much wipe you out for that year. So, but we haven't seen any extensive claims that are going to hurt us going forward in terms of our assessments. And just one other item is I'll be sending out to you again the dates on the employee or the public officials training for the MEL. As you're aware that when you attend a training, that the township gets money back on its dividends for the training that you attend, and that's worked out pretty well for us in the past as well. They've already got the dates for us for the League of Municipalities training. The other one, the training that's done by the local JIF, will probably come about a month later than that.
So what the league is for next year?
The league, if you attend the league this year, you would get credit for it next year, correct. And the other thing is, while I'm on the JIF, and not to make it any longer, but just because we don't get a chance to spend that much time talking about it, the other things that the Joint Insurance Fund and the MEL have done that we didn't have before we went into these programs is they basically have set up all the training. There is booklets of classes that they offer that Public Works, the police department, go to. Everything from Right to Know. We used to have to pay for those things ourselves. From Right to Know to employment practices. Once or twice a year, they have seminars that we have to attend, and our direct line supervisors have to attend to inform us on employment practices and things along those lines that we need to address. And they've really done a great job on that, and as you're all well aware, they also brought into us cyber. We extended cyber insurance about 3 years ago, which came in handy last year, or this past year, when we had issues with a virus. So that is basically it. If anybody has any questions.
I just had one, Jeff.
Yes.
In the JIF claim files, I notice under file status, several of them are real. Why is that?
Maybe a workers, I can think of a couple where there's workers' compensation claims where there was a person was treated, came back to work, and then had a re-injury.
Okay. That was all. Thanks, Jeff.
Do we need to accept the report, or just the fact that we reviewed it? We're okay?
Just the fact that you reviewed it, we're okay.
Okay. So let's move on to item number 3, which is the sewer account at 109 South Bridgeboro Street. And just to catch everybody up, it has 2 meters, but there's really only one account because of some problems with errors in reading. So the tax collectors asked the township to approve a resolution to set up 2 different accounts for the 2 different meters. Seems to make sense. Jeff, do you want to fill us in? Is there more to the story than?
There really is. That's it. There's no impact on the property owner. It'll just clean something up in the files that should have been cleaned up a while ago. And if everybody's in favor of it, we have a resolution prepared to add that to the next meeting.
Anybody have an issue with that?
No.
No. Okay. So let's do that. Next is the Historical Society and the old street signs that we have donated to them to sell and hopefully make some money for them, and it would save us from trashing them, and I'm sure people will want them. There was a letter included in the packet from Al Anderson, the president of Delran Historical Society, asking if it's okay with us, if they can just get the stuff and they'll deal with everything, and we don't have to worry about any of the logistics or the the issues that are involved in disposing of these through sale. Is there, anybody have any apprehension with that? I think it's great.
Yeah, let 'em do it.
We're good?
I'll let them know. We'll want to do a resolution just indicating that the value of the scrap material is less than $3,500, as long as it's less than $3,500, which it is significantly less. We can dispose of it that way.
So next, this is the toolkit, the infamous toolkit.
Well, we
No longer called the toolkit?
Well, there was supposed to be a best practices and a toolkit, and the toolkit never really came about from the state. And what Gary's talking about is that there was a series of changes made which required town to go through this best practices process every year, and I think I've expressed how I feel about it before.
I recall you were a big fan.
Yeah, not a big fan, and I think it's a load of garbage, and I'm not supposed to say that, but I just said it, so. One of the things that when we got this best practice requirement, we were supposed to get a toolkit, which would, there were some things that would streamline some of the processes of government that you refer to from time to time about taking a lot of time, things along those lines, and I couldn't agree more. And the toolkit, that part of it that would have saved us money never occurred. We only got the worksheet part and the best practices process, so.
So are we going to review this? And the issue is that there are many things that are questions and yeses and nos that are, the option is yes or no, and what we've done may be better, but we don't have the option to say, or, this, which is better than yes or no. So, Jeff, why don't you talk about anything that we should be aware of?
I gave you all a copy of the best practices worksheet, and what I have on the left side are the answers that we currently have. And in order to get all of your aid, essentially what they say is that if you don't have 21 affirmative answers out of 25 questions that are asked, that they'll reduce your last payment of your contra aid by 25%. Now, our last payment of contra aid, I don't have the number comprehensive. It's basically the only aid. It's not really aid. It's money we're supposed to get directly. We're supposed to be getting directly from the utilities as part of it. PSE&G, when you pay PSE&G or New Jersey Water Company bill, you'll see this percentage, 17 point something percent, goes to state or local governments. Well, first it gets, some of it gets sifted off and goes to the state. Originally, all of it went to local governments, but each year the number essentially doesn't change, hasn't changed in years and years and years. Is that your supposed aid, which isn't aid, it was money you were supposed to get, but the state said we can collect it better and we'll redistribute it to you. But they'll reduce that if you do not come up with 21 affirmative answers. Going through the policies and procedures we have in place, of the 25, you'll see on the left-hand side, there are 20 that we can say yes to. There are 3 that there is no way we can say yes to now or into the future. So there's only a couple that we've got some movement on. And the one is that on an annual basis that you put on the agenda and discuss any commissions, utilities that you have created and determine, at least discuss and put it on an agenda that you think that that's a valid way in providing a service. The only thing, most towns have 3 or 4 of these things, you only have 1, and that's that the municipal government back years ago created the fire commissioners. If you agree that the fire commissioners, in creating the fire commission and having them operate at the fire services, if you're okay with that, then we say yes, we documented that you confirmed that on this date, and we can have that 21st yes. Otherwise, we'll have 20 yeses.
So are there any
But any counts to that, correct? I was reading this. It looks like yes, no, okay, are promoted. Maybe not. So NA doesn't count to your 21.
Yeah.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're okay.
No, you need one. You need the fire commissioner.
So.
That's what I'm saying, so the NA doesn't.
I think
The NA does count, yes.
So the fire commissioners.
So we have
review-
20 yeses and nays
Right,
combined.
we got 21.
Combined, we have 20 that we can get credit for.
It shows here 20 yeses and 1 NA here.
That's not added up, right?
That's
You added
after
that.
you do the fire commissioners.
Oh, okay.
So the fire, so just so that we're clear, we're not asking the fire commissioners to change anything, we're just trying to review
And you did it last year.
and just say, yes, we think that it's operating fine and we approve.
Yeah,
the way it's going.
essentially, you're just saying that it's a sufficient way to deliver fire services to the town, which you obviously confirmed by not, you know, discussing overturning it or getting rid of it. And we discussed it last year, we had the same issue last year, we put it on the agenda, and you said, you're fine, we move forward.
So we submitted this exactly like this last year.
Well, the question's changed from year to year.
So what was our?
This,
what was
are you
our-
talking about this question?
Yeah.
Yes.
And what was our total count last year? Do you remember?
21 and 22. No, they had 30 questions last year. There's less questions.
Did we hit the number, the threshold?
Yes,
And this time we're not, by the way.
unless we do this. But we did this last year. We needed that question last year as well.
So, is there a time limit we have to get this done by?
It'd be nice if you just said it tonight.
Well, I would say.
Okay, so that's a
It's
timeline.
I'm sorry, in terms of actually getting this in, it's like October 9th, but
So,
I would like to get it
But we
done.
would, so do we need to be, is this something that we can just do?
Yes.
So either walk on or informally, or
You can
do a
just
motion, or?
Yes,
Okay, so,
it's actually your next item on
We
the
need-
work
and we
session,
need
so
to
it's
do
already
it.
on the
Read
agenda.
that, read
Okay.
that threshold.
Yeah.
all right, so.
And just for clarification, the other three items that we won't be able to get to are items that are within the collective bargaining agreements that we're in negotiations, and we won't be able to get them out of the collective bargaining agreements. So those three, and quite honestly, one of the questions is asked twice, so that you don't get credit for it both times, which is part of the reason that I'm not in love with the best practices worksheets. And without, I mean, I don't want to go too far into negotiations, but you may recall the last time we did a collective bargaining agreement, we tried to get one of those items to get it removed, and we got another give back that saved us more money than that. And that's another reason I don't like the best practices work, because it gave us more savings, but it wasn't in their specific, you know, little line that they want to be able to say, okay, we want this out of your state, your contracts that have been in for 50 years. We got a different savings that, again, probably saved double what they're looking for with respect to this issue. That's why, it's why to me best practices. There are some things in here that everybody should be doing, and quite honestly, when we go through them, it's like click, click, we do that. And a lot of them, some of them are from things that we've done with the joint insurance fund. Or a number of questions, or a number of the answers to the questions in here and our own policies, but there's several that we just won't ever be able to click off.
And we never ask you to comment on their survey, on their question. You
There's
can't,
people that do comment on it, yes.
okay.
Through our professional work.
Yes, yeah.
They try to change
I'm
it.
sure that individuals commenting is not a fruitful process.
Well, no, but I meant like if you could submit a, you know, how surveys and have comments at the bottom that you could explain what you just said to us. They don't have that.
No.
Okay.
No, they do take some input through our professional organizations after the process is over.
Okay.
And we've expressed concerns about the fact that they've kind of doubled up on the question, which if you don't do it, you got 2 clicks against you instead of 1, which makes no sense.
So, I think we all agree that the fire commission does provide adequate, more than adequate fire service,
Yep.
and that we'd like to continue to do that. Do we need something that affirms that or memorializes that discussion?
Head vote.
Yeah, you just do a quick motion.
So if I could have a motion confirming that we all agreed, or we agree that Fire Commission delivers the services that they're ascribed to do in a more than adequate way. I'd like someone to make that motion, please.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, Jeff, you have your yes.
Thank you.
So, that, we're at the, do we have to acknowledge the, is there something we need to do by
You
motion?
all have had copies of it for a couple days. You've reviewed it at this point, and as long, if you take another vote, just to say that you've reviewed it and acknowledge it so that we can submit it, that would complete the process.
Okay, so I need a motion to acknowledge acknowledge receipt and accept that we reviewed the best practices worksheet.
I'll make that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. That was 7. Cooking, baby. You're cooking. Next is the recycling issue, and Jeff received the letter, and Jeff, what do they need exactly?
All right, the Burlington County Recycling Program, which does the recycling for all of our towns here in Burlington County, is number one, they're offering the opportunity and encouraging the elected officials to attend a tour of their recycling center. They have 2 dates, Monday, September 18th, and Thursday, September 28th, if you're interested. They've indicated in the letter, and let's see here, but they want to know basically by tomorrow, I think the 13th, they wanted to have RSVP, so if anybody's interested, let me know, and I'll let them know. And then secondly, the letter goes into the fact that,
I'm interested, Jeff.
okay.
Yeah, either day.
On the 18th.
On the 18th?
Yeah.
That's fine.
The 18th?
It's really something you should say, I'm telling you, it's amazing.
Well, you know, if you read the material, Jeff, from the freeholders in there, it was really interesting reading, especially about the contamination part. When I read that and I saw we were invited, I thought it'd be a good opportunity to see how.
And that's the gist of this letter, is that the markets are getting tighter, that they have to market the recycle items too. And so that they're trying to make sure that contaminants that might come into the recycling process can be eliminated as much as possible. I don't know if they have identified to you, Delrans, they said that they're going to meet with some of the towns and tell them what problematic areas they're seeing with each and every town, so they'd probably be reaching out to you at some point.
Yeah, we're just so you know, I'm way ahead of them on this, and they know that, we're one of the only towns out there that, I go out and check the recycling containers. I check, probably 10 to 15 of them every other week, and, I always write something positive back, but I find a lot of plastic, and I advise the people that it's not supposed to be in there, and give them a thank you for recycling, and a real nice letter back. So we send out 10 to 15 letters every other with that, so we're on top of that.
Gentlemen, go on.
You know, Sunday,
28th.
Is there a certain number for the plastic, like, if it's
No, I think
a certain number on the bottom of the?
2 is
1,
good.
2, 5. 1s, 2s, and 5s.
One's 2s and 5s, but it's the plastic wrap
One,
Yes.
that is the most,
Yeah.
and you
Saran wrap?
cannot believe, like the water bottle wrap that's around the water bottles.
Yeah.
people put that in?
You cannot believe almost every one of the cans I go to, very seldom is there none in any of
Where's styrofoam can?
No.
them. You can't believe what they're
I thought
finding.
I
Pet
would, I
waste
never.
in the plastic bags.
No.
Inside the trash can, yeah.
And if you didn't get a chance to read it, or for the public, they're saying that the program averages about 8% contamination going. And that specifically the Chinese market, which a lot of this stuff gets sold to, is going to tighten up what they're willing to accept. So they're concerned that the markets will dry up a little bit. And so that's another reason for this push, is to educate everybody so that we can work like programs like Jerry is doing it, and with other towns, is just get the word out that not to have contaminants in there, and educate the people on what can go in there.
Why don't we,
And this is at the recycling center.
why don't we
so-
put that in one of our next mailers and stuff?
It's in there.
They do that.
No, so I mean from ours, basically saying, you know, we gotta get a little bit smarter on how they, exactly. maybe people
Let's
do
whip
it.
it up.
Anyone have the address
On
for this
Facebook as well.
location?
Yeah, it's,
Maybe we put it on Facebook too, Jeff, and get it out everywhere.
yeah, we'll get it for you.
Mhm.
It's right behind,
Yes.
Hancock. Isn't it on Hancock?
It's 130 Hancock Lane in West Hampton.
And you said you scheduled that.
Yeah, I'll call back for you. The two of you want to go the 18th?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll
Any-
be there too.
You going the 18th?
Yeah.
Okay. If anybody else, makes a decision that they want to go, just give me a call by tomorrow.
Okay. And when do you need to know about the 28th? Because it says the 18th or the 28th.
Same thing.
Same thing by
They
tomorrow.
kind of want to know.
RSVP
West
by
Hampton.
7:44.
What is it?
45 exit 5.
So I got 2
West
days.
Hampton,
Okay, I have.
So
So
right
I
across
have
from
till
the-
Thursday.
right across from Turkey, it's right behind that.
It's right off of 541.
I got work. Then I work on.
It's right across from the turnpike.
Yeah.
It's in the evening, but does it say what time?
Yeah, it's
5:45 to
5:45.
7.
You have to be there 5:45 or is it?
I thought you
going
were going to a class there.
No, that's when you have to be there. It's gonna be everybody has to wear hard hats and glasses, they're gonna take you through, it's a pretty big operation.
Okay.
What time is it during the day though?
No, it's
5:45 during the evening.
5:45, is that what you said?
Yeah, 5:45 to 7.
If I can get home, I'll maybe go to you guys, but I don't know if I'll be home from work.
I'll go down on the 28th.
Okay.
Yeah, and Dan said he would go.
Yeah, I'll go
on the
back with
28th.
her, so she's not by herself.
I can tell that day, but I'll be back.
I'm in on the 18th,
Okay.
pending,
Okay, as I said, we could, I got an email directly from the recycling coordinator, and she said that if we wanted to extend it, she probably could allow 1 or 2 of our green team members to go. So I'll
Good idea.
I'll extend it
Yeah.
to them and ask them if they have 1 or 2 to
Yeah,
go.
that's a great idea, Jim.
Good. Okay, next we have our, the hardship waiver on the 62 Box Club Drive. Jeff, is this I read this through, but, so the issue is that they can't sell it as a loader mod, and are asking to sell it at market rate.
So basic hardship waiver that you've dealt with 100 times, not 100, but a lot.
You want to post the live tracks, kissing all these animals?
So,
Because obviously, one of the options that they offer in the letter is if you want to buy it, but we can't buy every hardship waiver.
right. So, we have granted those waivers in the past, and do we know, do they sell at market rate? Is that, now that they have the option, do we have any tracking on that? And I'm not asking you to start a new department, but I'd just be curious to know if they couldn't sell them as load of mod, if they're selling them as market rate, and what that does to our number. But that's another discussion for another night. Tonight, it seems to be just if we want to approve this, the 62 Fox Club to be sold at market rate. Anybody have any questions or objections or? No. So what do we need to do here, Tim? Is this a resolution, or do we have to do this by resolution?
This could be a motion also.
This can be a motion. Okay, so I'd like a motion that authorizes 62 Box Club Drive to sell at market rate.
Hold on a second. You can't sell at market rate. You're waiving the requirement for loading mod by the rate. You're not waiving the cost of the property.
Essentially granting the hardship waiver, right?
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. So, instead of that, I'd like a motion to grant the hardship waiver for 62 Box Club Drive without any additional comments.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so we have reports from various department heads and professionals. Anything, Jamie, this evening? Anything, Gary?
Yes, I do have something. Our, as you all know, our compost down there, we've had problems getting rid of the leaf compost at the end of the season. Last year, the county stopped taking it and they wouldn't take it anymore. We were able to get a guy from Old Castle came up and looked at it and said that he would take the stuff away. He uses it for topsoil or something, and he did. With that being said, after he took it, he kind of stopped and he said there's too much trash in it. It's costing me more to haul it. He can't take it. He ended up taking it all, but he drug his feet getting it out of here. So this year he comes back and I have no means for it. So I put in my budget $50,000 so that we could transport it, because it has to be transported to the county facility, and the county facility said that they would take it for $150 a truck. I figured it all out, it's gonna be around $50,000. So I thought about it over a period of time, and I called this other contractor back and said, if it was clean, would you take it? And he said, yeah, I would take it if it was clean. So I rented a screener for $10,000 and cleaned all the product up, and it came out, and it's beautiful. So where we're at now is I have all this product down there, 15,000 cubic yards roughly with this product. I call it samples. It's a good clean leaf compost. Now this guy's in here and he's drooling now because he wants to take it away. Now I have to get rid of it by December, so I really do have to get rid of it. But since it's such a good quality product, I had like Leon Berg, his nursery came down, Kirk came down and looked at it, and he said, Jared, he's paying like big money for stuff like this, but a lot of it's the trucking is what will cost a lot. He says it's a marketable material, but I don't really have a market for it. I don't have a place to store it, and the state comes down on you and they want it out of here. So I'm asking like what I'm doing with it. I'm gonna let this guy take it at the end of, when it's all done and ready. But I would like to offer it back to the township residents like we do the wood chips. One of my guys must have said something on Facebook the other night about we have a really nice grade of topsoil available. My phone's been ringing off the hook. It's not a topsoil. I've been telling them what it is, but it is something that is beneficial to the residents. Not only that, the landscapers around all might be interested in it. What we do with the wood chips is they come get all they want for free, and if they want it a truck delivered, it's $40 for a delivery fee. So I would like to do the same stuff and try to create a buzz with this, so that maybe next year or the following year, if I continue to do this, somebody steps up to the plate and says, you know what, that's a nice product, you know, maybe I'll give you $4 a cubic yard and pick it up, and maybe we can market it.
But not just that though, if you're doing that, that'll save us from having to haul it somewhere.
Yes, yes.
So it's gonna save us money even this year.
Sure.
Doing whatever, so I think it's a no-brainer, without a doubt.
We can, I mean, it's excellent move to save all that money. If we can figure a way to cover the cost of the screener,
Sure, yeah.
that'd be a
And
total win.
I went back to this guy and said to him, look, can you help me offset some of the cost of that? And he's like, Jared, my back's up against the wall. It's costing him probably $50,000 to get this stuff out of here.
Yeah, but we have $50,000 budgeted, correct?
Yes.
And it only costs us $10,000 for the screening
It
right
was
now?
$10,000 for the screener and $2,000 to get it delivered, so it was like $12,000.
So even if we were not to have to spend the money to move it anywhere or anything like that, we're still doing a lot better.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, there's room for improvement.
No, I got you,
There's
but I'm
room
just
for
saying
improvement.
though.
If I can stockpile this, or
Sure.
if somebody interested, or get a
And
farm
make
out
money
there,
on it, I
yeah,
agree.
I mean, even.
But
if
I
it's-
mean, even right now,
Sure.
it's a no-brainer that it's
Yeah.
saving money, so.
But I just wanted to let everybody know what's going on, so that if you get a phone call or somebody asks, and make sure you all agree that what we're
Yeah.
doing is okay.
Police know you're carrying that stuff around in baggies.
Why, what else comes in baggies like this?
Yeah, really, what are you talking
I don't
about?
know.
Does anybody want to see it? It's not.
Does it stink?
No, it's almost like a.
Yeah, I'd like to see it.
Just, I mean, I think everybody recognizes, just for
This is
everybody's,
leaf?
That's, we ground it up.
everybody's information
Let
is,
me
when he's
explain.
saying about taking it off the site, is we have a composting permit that only allows us to have so much on the site. So he's basically got to remove that out, and for space to get the new leaves in. So,
And it's like, we start this right after leaf season, we go out, we have this machine that turns it, and we turn it 2-3 times a week, all the way up until the end, and then now we're taking the trash out of it, and it's really coming out.
so
The way to think out of the box.
Yeah, that's
We're gonna
great.
use it on our township field, we're gonna
Yeah.
top dress all our
That's
township
You can
fields.
see why this would be questionable.
I don't know what you're talking
Jerry,
about.
that's amazing.
I read about it.
Yeah,
Really?
Well, Jim, if you have any, somebody that might be interested too, keep us in mind.
Yeah.
Send the contractor there for any of those restoration.
Nice job.
So that's, and that can be used as a dressing for
Top
flower
dressing
beds?
or to turn into the soil, because it holds a lot of moisture.
Dude.
How's it feel, Jeff?
Well, I've seen it 100 times, but I've never actually felt it, so.
It can
Feel good?
It's interesting, you know, that it was.
They can measure it between your gums.
Wow.
You need a private moment
Once
somewhere?
it leaves, now it's entirely black.
The guy that feeds it, what he actually uses it for, he's the biggest distributor around for topsoil with Home Depots and Lowe's, and them 40-pound bags.
Yeah.
But what happens is when you get them 40-pound bags, by the time they're shipped and everything, the bag's only a quarter full. So he uses this as a fluff material, which gives it more volume and helps it to sell.
Yeah.
Smart idea.
It's pretty good. I'll take it.
No,
I'll take it,
I
Maggie.
don't know about
Also, that's all I got. Thanks, Jerry. That's great. Jeff, anything for us?
Just one item I want you to be aware of with the borrowing that we're doing for the, one of the sewer projects, is we will be coming to you. I've contacted NJIT and I've contacted our engineering firm and our bond counsel to go through the NJIT program for the bigger pump station. That was like the $1.8 million, so that the smaller project, it really won't work for, but the large project, like we said before, once you get over about $1 million, $1.5 million, you start looking at NJIT. And since we did the NJIT loan the last time, they've actually improved the program pretty significantly. Instead of 50% being zero interest, 75% to zero interest. And there's a couple other things that are a little bit better and advantageous to it. But we have some more background we have to do before we bring it to you to get any authorization on it. But I just wanted to let you know we're looking at it. I think it'll save you some money.
Good. Jim, anything for us tonight?
Yes, I hope you all got the status report I sent out last Thursday. It was out last Friday. The road program for the 2016-2017, it's going strong right now. They just did the resurfacing of Greenbrier today. They've been moving along. They have a couple crews working on the concrete ahead of the paving crews. They're going to be out at White Marsh and Oxford with starting to the road reconstruct. They got most of the curb work done, so they're going to be starting those roads soon, and then they're going to move to Drexel and finally Main Street. So it's still looking like it's definitely going to be done before the end of October. That's
And they're doing a good job. Greenbrier is looking
wrong.
really nice.
The sidewalks for Route 130 on the northbound side, where the contractors will get started on Monday. We had a pre-construction walkthrough with DOT and the contractor today to go over the layout and stuff. So he's geared to get ready to get started on Monday. It's going to be during the day, but it's going to be limited to the shoulder. So there's not going to be any lane closures on Route 130, but it'll be limited to the shoulder or off the shoulder in the grass areas. So we'll start seeing that on Monday, give or take a few days, depending on when he gets out there. The sidewalk on the southbound side and the lighting, we're working through design and survey on that. The lighting is going to be hopefully coming to you soon for talking about how to move that forward to construction. There's an opportunity maybe possibly to do a co-op, but we're getting you details on that, or we'll just put out like a standard bid. So that should be done over this winter. The roof we're working on the design. We have a kickoff meeting next Monday with the architect and the roofing manufacturer to start doing the survey and design work for that. That we want to put out the bid in coming this January. So we'll keep you up to date on that. Other than that, we have our typical grant applications, which we'll probably have to talk about with resolutions at the next workshop or early October meetings, just to finalize those resolutions for those grant applications. And then the sewer projects are all moving forward. The disc filter project is going faster than we expected. They're doing some preliminary work right now in demolition. Then there's going to be a stand down while the new equipment is being manufactured. So it should all be done next spring. And then the other three, the pump station, the weir cleaners, and the recycling system study, that's all underway.
I was going to ask something when it was my turn, but since it's on in regards to you. I sent you an email from Congressman MacArthur's office.
Okay.
In
Yes,
regards
yes.
to grants. Have you looked into them? And if you have, I'd like you to give a status on it. If not, can you prepare at least and look into them and see what's available there, if anything, and whether or not there's matching requirements and things like that?
Yeah, I'm familiar with generally all of them that were in the list. some of them we have a grant already through.
Okay.
Some of them are not eligible for, some of them are not applicable because of the project scoping is more of.
Can you give
Yeah, let me summarize,
a
you know,
written
each.
list to me and responses, just in case I'm required to actually.
Yeah, that should be
something.
easy. There's actually one I wanted to make a call on, just to confirm what I'm thinking.
If you could.
But, yeah, I think, I'll get that to you, and then, but most of them we already knew about, have applied for,
Okay.
or have a grant for.
And I figured that, but I just want to make sure we have it
Nearly all of them.
all looked into.
Yeah. So that's if anybody else has any other questions.
Thank you.
Oh, and I don't know, I'm just letting you know, I forgot to add, PSC&G is out doing the water main, doing their gas main replacements at this time. They're moving along. They just started,
I got mine today.
yeah. Okay.
Like the meter, on the houses, PSNG's.
No, they're doing, gas main, that's what I said, you're
Yeah.
not in the right spot. It's over in, over by, the Main Street
Oh,
over
okay.
here.
Are they cutting up open roads?
Yeah, they're replacing, gas mains.
And what are we
And
doing
then,
for-
yeah, and then after that's all done, they're doing a half road resurfacing.
Half road?
Mm.
That's great. Sounds good. And you're making sure it's done? looks
Yeah,
good?
they posted escrow, so we're keeping an eye on
Good. Thank
it.
you.
Sure, you know,
Okay.
Good. Thanks, Jim.
thank you.
Tim, anything for us tonight?
Nothing to report tonight.
All right. All right, let's go around the table. Dan, you got anything tonight?
I just wanted to point out in the material that Jeff and Jamie supplied to us on the recycling program, and to thank the residents of the town. They cite in 2016, Delran, they collected 1,464 tons of recyclables, saving the township over $118,000. That's not insignificant. On a big town, on a town our size, it's even more significant. I just wanted to point that out for the record and to thank the residents and tell them to keep up the good work. That's all.
Great, Dan, thanks. That's, people, I'm never sure if people understand that trash costs us and recycling saves us. And try to get as much in there, as long as Jerry doesn't find that it's the wrong stuff. Good. Tyler, anything?
Yeah, real quick, I know we had a couple residents were concerned about Verizon Fios in town for competition. I finally spoke to someone, the right person at Verizon. All she could say was it's not in the plans for 2017, but she will keep us updated. It does come on the
Did you
radar.
contact that person, Jackson, or something, where I think Julie Peterson said she gave you a person that,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
how
I
you went to
couldn't,
it?
Jeff gave me a number and that guy left Verizon, so Julie gave me a number and we got.
Because she mentioned,
Yeah.
that's it, just send it to phone
Yeah,
Tyler.
so maybe a couple years down the road.
No, maybe.
Yeah,
Is that it?
okay.
That's all I got, thank you.
Mike, anything tonight?
No report.
Patty? So, I just wanted to say that, we're getting down to the crunch time for Delran Day. Talk it up as best you can. Tyler has been working with the Business Association to help in any way that he could to help organize and promote it. And I see that the things are up on Facebook now, and I would invite those that are on Facebook to share it, those that are not, talk amongst your friends, and remind them, and hopefully we'll have another very successful Delran Day. Also wanted to mention that Jake's Place is doing another fundraising letter, but they are, in an effort to save money, are not mailing to Delran. They wanted us, as I mentioned before, they wanted us to pay for the mailing to Delran, and so in lieu of that, I would suggest that maybe we do the same. We're going to get a copy of the letter itself, have Jamie post it on our website and Facebook, and then maybe we all share it and let people know that that's happening so that they can do that. Are we okay?
Yeah, I'm talking about Patty.
Okay. That's really it. We'll do that with them, and unless we come up with someone who wants to pay for that, the cost of that printing and mailing.
What is the event, Gary?
No, they're just doing a general fundraising letter.
Oh,
It's
a
not
fundraising
promoting
letter,
it.
not a
Yeah,
event
just,
yet,
hey,
okay.
we're raising money again.
Mhm.
I would, certainly when they let us know when the next event is, then we'll promote that. I'm sure everyone here supports that, and we'll move from there. So that's my report. Ken, you have anything for us tonight?
Yeah, I just want to say, I've been having some developers reach out to me in regards to some ideas of possibly some other businesses coming into Delran. It's nothing in concrete yet, but we still have a lot of action on people other businesses that want to come in. So we do have a lot of action going on up at the Sam's, the Sam's property. With 3 businesses coming in, and we have Dunkin' Donuts coming in, but there are other businesses that are talking to me as well. So it'd be nice if we can land some of these additional ones, but like I said, it seems like a lot of different businesses want to come into Delran, so that's a good sign. And that's about it.
Good, good. So I'll ask for a motion to go into public.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we're in public. Everybody knows the rules. We're just going to go around the room and see if anybody has any questions. Tim, anything tonight? You have any questions tonight?
Not at this time.
Thank you. Colin, anything?
Nothing.
Faye?
Nothing.
Bob?
Bob Gilbert, 75 Stewart Avenue, Delran. I have one question on the animal control. I didn't hear anything being addressed to rabid animals. Who takes care of that?
If we get a call on rabid animals?
Yeah.
If it's a domestic animal, they do.
Now, we're talking like skunks that are out at noontime and they're running around in circles because they don't know, they're
You would contact
rabid.
the police department.
The police department?
Yes.
Really? Okay.
There was a situation with a rabid raccoon, I think it was.
We had a skunk. He came out of the hole and he didn't know which way he was going, and hopefully he went off and died somewhere.
Yeah, this wasn't in Delran, it was like, I think Marl or somewhere, so. Was it Cherry Hill? Yeah.
That's
Is that
it.
it, Bob? Okay.
Chuck Stahl, 184 Natalie Road. So in reference to Jake's Place, they do have a couple of events coming up. They have the run that's going to be at Delran High School. That's on the 21st of October. And they've also got a wine event that's going to be on the 29th, just so everybody's aware of it.
29th of October?
Yes.
Where's the wine?
It's at Cafe Eldo Lamberti.
Oh.
They do that every
They-
year.
they do
have
that.
every year. And I knew the run was the 21st, but
Yeah, I just looked it up. I
Yeah,
ran
I
it
knew
last
that.
year. I didn't remember exactly when it was. I knew it was in October.
yeah.
So, and then the other thing would be with regards to the hardship waiver, if a unit sells at market rate, what happens like to the proceeds from that? Does the owner keep that, or do they have to give what's above what they were supposed to sell it at? Like back to the township or something?
They don't have to give anything to the township.
Okay.
The important thing for the township is that the deed restrictions and affordability controls stay on the property, even with the hardship waiver. So it's basically a recognition that some properties have been sitting for a long time and they're just not selling, to allow the properties to sell and become owner occupied.
And the fund, correct. It waives the requirement for the buyer to qualify.
Exactly.
Doesn't change any of the other guidelines.
Okay.
That's
So-
exactly right.
All right, so the price stays the same, it's just, it creates a larger pool
Yes.
for them
Right,
to sell.
exactly.
Okay. That's it.
Okay. Linda?
Nothing tonight.
Have a motion to come out of public?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, and then the motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Second.
Aye.